He swears he saw something living in that trench, something that no science could explain. But then, why does his dive log not match what's on the recovered video? Content warning. This story explores themes of psychological distress, isolation, and real-life danger encountered during deep-sea exploration. While the account references disappearance and potential mental health impacts, explicit violence and graphic descriptions are avoided. Imagine you're Robert Bobby Laine, a decorated deep-sea diver, known in the close-knit world of oceanic researchers for your nerves of steel and your relentless curiosity. It's April 17th, 2013, and the world-class Thales Research Institute has just selected you to be the first human to pilot their one-of-a-kind titanium-hulled submersible, the Nova IX, into the lower reaches of the Mariana Trench, deeper than any manned mission before. The briefing room is full of nervous energy, equal parts anticipation, and unspoken dread. Someone from the project's board cautions.
You to remember, Bobby. At that depth, even the smallest failure means nobody comes to rescue you.
The team laughs, but you see the anxious glance your co-pilot shoots you. A quick squeeze of your wife's hand before the elevator doors close is all the comfort you get before heading for isolation. The Nova IX itself looks less like a submarine and more like a prop from a near-future thriller. Sleek, cramped, lined with glowing screens, every surface humming quietly as life support checks and computer power-up sequences roll through. There's something comforting about the cocoon. The precise engineering, the years of design, until you close the hatch, and every sound is your own. The mission is simple. Descend to a newly mapped abyssal rift, collect exploratory data and water samples, and test the Nova IX's systems at crush depths. The ocean swallows you as the vessel's robotic arms retract and the ballast tanks whine. Pressure mounts, the blue world outside turning first to navy, then black, until the only color comes from your instruments. You keep up a running commentary for the surface crew, voice hitching occasionally when the hull shivers.
Descent past 9,000 meters. No anomalies.
Oxygen, CO2, all nominal. Feeling good. In the control center above, family members and scientists listen intently. Faces awash in the glow of monitors and a live feed from your external cameras. 2 hours into the descent, now more than 10,400 meters deep, you settle Nova 9 on the lip of the rift. Your spotlights sweep across the silt, exposing pale tube worms and a startled amphipod. But the images you stream up to the surface flicker. The signal lag, a constant reminder of just how far away home really is. You remember the stories passed among divers, half myth, half warning. Tales of the bends, of hallucinations under pressure, of strange sounds echoing through pitch-black water. You always found solace underwater, oddly more at peace at 1,000 meters than on dry land. As you drift, a gloved hand over the controls, you try to ignore the memory of your older brother David, who disappeared during a test dive in '91, his fate never explained. It's the one thing you've never talked about with your team. 20 minutes into your survey at crush depth, the Nova 9 shudders. At first, you think it's a minor seismic tremor, not uncommon at the trench's edge. Then all readings spike. Water temperature drops by 11 degrees Celsius within seconds. Internal pressure alarms begin shrieking. Everything, audio, external cameras, goes dead. Except for one external mic, still catching the faint, rhythmic tapping of what? It sounds wet, organic. You turn your head and see, illuminated by the dying light of your spotlight, a pattern on the glass, like fingers, dragging slowly over the viewport from the outside. You freeze. It can't be a diver. There are none for 1,000 miles in any direction. You're 10,473 meters below sea level. The fingers snap away, leaving swirls of bioluminescent blue behind, briefly illuminating the darkness before vanishing. The system jerks back to life, cameras flickering. Static floods the audio. The tapping stops. The clock reads just 3 minutes have passed. Back topside, the crew is panicked.
Bobby, you went off comms for over half an hour. Are you reading us?
You reply,
I'm fine. I saw something.
but as you review the camera logs, the external video shows only blackness and swirling plankton. Hours later, you surface the Nova 9. The hull shows no damage, but you can't shake the memory of that pattern, those dragging fingers. You're met by a maze of activity and hush. The outside world hasn't fared much better. News of a minor tremor on the Pacific Plate, but no tsunami, no recorded seismic event strong enough to explain what happened. Decompression is supposed to be a formality, but your ears roar with echoes every time you close your eyes. When you finally step out, someone thrusts a checklist into your hands, while a senior scientist, Dr. Amy Sung, asks pointedly,
What do you remember about the blackout?
She's a friend, but even she seems nervous. You want to say you saw something impossible, but you fall back on what your training demands.
Probably a malfunction. Pressure spike triggered the safeties.
You can't stop thinking about your brother, about the look on his face the last time anyone saw him. You sign the forms, but that night you lie awake in your bunk, replaying the moment, the touch on the glass, the blue fingerprints, the silence. Days become weeks. You submit your reports and the incident is swept into a routine systems check. But the data review turns up a new anomaly. Your dive log, which should match the time-stamped video and environmental feeds, doesn't. The video logs report blackout from 1342 to 1417, a full 35 minutes, while your manually entered dive log entries show continuous activity, down to the minute. Even stranger, you've written down not just routine entries, but several observations. Unusual bioluminescence at 1407. Exterior sound consistent with rhythmic tapping at 1409. Inexplicable sense of presence in the sub at 1412. Scientists are puzzled. Did you update your log in real time? Amy asks gently. Or did you reconstruct after you were back topside? You're sure you never stopped writing. The log pages feel familiar, the pen's impression fresh. But when investigators check the pen you used, they find that it had run out of ink just before the blackout event. Technicians triple-check the timestamps. How did you write what you remember, when the logs suggest you couldn't? The Institute, fearing media attention, steers the incident away from public scrutiny. But rumors spread among other scientists about pressure-induced hallucinations, hydrogen narcosis, or perhaps simpler psychological breakdown. The more they try to explain it, the less sense it makes. The video data is sound, just 40 minutes of blackness, then a flicker as power returns. A handful of blurry frames show what might be a large shape outside the Nova 9, but no one can agree on what it is. Reviewers suggest your memory merged reality and dream. Others dismiss the fingerprints as a trick of the light, a random swirl of plankton caught by the dying spotlight. But your own memory is crystal clear. It was alive, you protest to Amy, desperate for validation. Her eyes dart away. You try to return to normal, lecturing, mentoring new divers, spending evenings with your family. But everything feels brittle. Each noise, a clanking pipe, even your wife's gentle knocking at the door, echoes the tapping from that day. Your daughter notices you're distracted. You decide to see a therapist, but the sessions feel foreign, like trying to explain a dream in a language nobody speaks. Your wife finally confronts you.
You're not here anymore, Bobby. Since the dive, nothing feels real.
You want to explain, but you're afraid. What if it really was just the pressure, the stress, buried grief from your brother's fate bubbling up at last? 8 months later, you receive an urgent call. Nova Niner is scheduled for a follow-up dive to the same rift, piloted this time by a different operator, and Amy asks if you'll oversee topside comms. You hesitate, but agree. It's almost a relief to be involved, to reclaim the narrative, to know you're not alone with the memory. When the second crew descends, the pattern repeats. At the same depth, the cameras flicker. The hull shudders. This time, the crew's last radioed words are, "There's something, can you see this?" Before silence falls. The rescue operation recovers the vessel. Both pilots are alive but shaken, refusing to talk. Their dive logs are blank for the duration of the blackout. But footprints, damp, 5-fingered prints, are discovered on the inside of the hatch. No plausible explanation is found. How do you process something that genuinely cannot be explained? Is the terror you experienced proof of your humanity, or evidence that your mind betrayed you? What would it mean if what you saw is real? Would anyone believe you? Or would you risk everyone's safety by chasing shadows? Armed with mounting evidence, you and Amy press the Institute to release the full logs. After internal debate, a select group of oceanographers, psychologists, and engineers are given access. Privately, a veteran technician confides.
There are things down there we don't want to understand. Sometimes survival means not asking.
You push for a third dive, but the Institute cancels all future missions to the rift. There's too much reputational risk, too much money at stake, and, unofficially, too much unexplained terror. Nova Niner is quietly mothballed. Off the record, Amy admits she believes you.
In your eyes, you saw something you shouldn't have. Scientists struggle with what can't be measured.
She gives you a sealed envelope. Inside, a short, anonymous note. It simply reads, "Heard you met the knocker. Not the first time, not the last." You spend hours researching. Hidden in classified logs from Cold War-era submarine patrols are references to similar encounters. Inexplicable hull tapping, transient shapes, subsonic voices heard only below 10,000 meters, and a century-old Japanese folk tale describing sea shadows appearing before calamity. You record your story, not just for yourself, but to leave a trace for others who might face the same encounter. Sitting in front of your webcam, you stare down the lens.
Sometimes the greatest mysteries stand between what we fear and what we know. And we who return from the edge bear witness.
The Nova Ike's logs and physical evidence are buried in archives, restricted by the Institute's legal team. The incident is labeled Inconclusive System Failure, the dive data redacted in public filings. But the blue-tinged handprint remains, etched in your memory, and maybe forever, on the hull of the deepest vessel ever built. Years pass. The Thales Institute pivots, never acknowledging the Nova Ike's incident publicly. Official inquiries stall, and you quietly retire, choosing to spend days teaching high schoolers about the beauty and horror of the ocean. You never seek official vindication. It's enough to know you witnessed something holy and terrifying. The story, though, refuses to die. Divers whisper of knockers and sea shadows, quietly trading their own impossible tales. A FOIA request, years later, uncovers partial documents confirming an unusual event at greater than 10,400 meters on April 17, 2013. But the key details, logs, video, biological analysis, are blacked out. What lingers is the human question, one as deep and dark as any ocean trench. If you encounter the inexplicable, do you risk your sanity and your credibility by sharing it? Or is the cost of silence even higher? The next time you walk along the shore, listening to the thrumming of waves, will you remember what waits beneath? Let's talk. What would you do if you were in Bobby's place? Deny what you could not prove, or risk ridicule to warn others? Does our need for answers outweigh our safety? Drop your thoughts, respectful theories, or personal encounters with the unexplainable in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more strange, dark, and profoundly human stories. Your curiosity fuels this channel.